Hi, Founder fans. Jason here, and today's founder is John Bill Ricketts. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, John Bill Ricketts, that sounds like the name of someone who might be in the circus, you'd be absolutely right. In fact, John Bill Ricketts brought the United States its first circus. Let's backtrack a little bit. What we now would know as the modern circus kind of has its roots in Britain just before the Revolutionary War breaks out, but after the war ends and the United States becomes, a nation, well, John Bill Ricketts, who had been performing in the circus, sees an opportunity and he moves to North America to start a circus. Specifically, he moves to Philadelphia, where he invests in building an arena and buying and training horses. Now, their circus did have clowns and juggling and certain acrobatics that we might recognize from the modern circus, but the main theme of the show, the number one hit, was John Bill Ricketts himself doing tricks on horseback. Now, there are dozens of different tricks he would do. He would stand on one foot on a horse with another person on one foot on his shoulder. He would jump over another horse with his horse, as you can see to the image next to me, though the image is a little bit difficult to see. He would jump off the horse and go through a hoop and land back on the horse. And what I consider the most interesting trick is he would stand with one foot on two separate horses, and under each foot was an egg. And he would not break the egg. Now, I'm not sure how he did this. Maybe he curled his toes around. I'm not an egg horse expert by any means. But this is the kind of show you would get and expect to go see a John Bill Ricketts circus. Now, because of this, he comes over just as the United States is organizing under the Constitution, and while he's in the United States, his first job is not only to build the arena, but to find the appropriate horses and train them to do these tricks that he is already an expert at. Truthfully, a lot of the onus is on the animals, and he spends a year picking the right horses and training them to be able to do these fascinating feats. Now, he becomes pretty much an overnight success, to the point where many people in the original Congress go to see this show. I'll remind you, the United States Capitol at this point is in Philadelphia while they wait Washington, D.C. to be built. And none other than President George Washington himself comes to the circus to see the show. Now, it is a little bit curious. Hey, why would George Washington, a member of the elite, be seen at a show that seems to be geared towards the mob, the rabble? Well, I'll tell you why. The reason is John Bill Ricketts went out of his way to be portrayed as a gentleman of the highest level of society. That meant that the wealthiest Americans, the ones with the most excess money to spend, would feel welcome at his show. Though, I will note that even many of the poorer Americans, or at least Philadelphians, also really enjoyed his shows. And this is really the first, quote, circus to be presented in the United States. Furthermore, Ricketts would eventually leave Philadelphia and go on a tour all up and down the coast of the United States. Unfortunately, he has one of his tents burned down. Now, tents burning down in the circus, it starts with the first circus of John Bill Ricketts, and that is a long, very morbid history that I suggest, if you're interested in, you find another channel for it. Not what we're doing here, but it is a very curious how often circuses had their tents burned down in American history. Either way, when Bill Ricketts' tent burns down, he ends up deciding, okay, you know what? I'm going to take my show to the West Indies. I've covered America. They've seen what I've got to offer. Let's go to the West Indies. And he packs up his horses and everything other than the burned down tent onto a ship to sail to the West Indies. Unfortunately, this is as the quasi-war breaks out with France under President John Adams. And because of this, his ship is actually captured by the French. Now, he is held on an island as a prisoner for a little while, but he explains, hey, I'm the famous John Bill Ricketts. You want to see some tricks? And he does perform tricks. And because of this, he's able to convince his French captors that he is not bringing these horses to fight for the Americans in any kind of war. He is bringing these horses to do tricks. And they actually give him his horses and much of his equipment back. Sadly, John Bill Ricketts then charters a ship to take him back to England, where he thinks he can dominate the circus scene. And as was wont to happen at the time, the ship that he was on is lost at sea. And at just 29 years old, the man who brought the circus to North America vanishes in a totally different type of act. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about John Bill Ricketts. I don't know why, but I see the name Ricketts and I think Rockettes. I know they're not associated at all, but there's that little entertainment link from then till now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like. If you're new here, subscribe for American Revolution content 7 days a week. Usually it's not about the circus. Usually it's more about a revolutionary politics. But hey, we like to have fun here. Thank you so much, and I'll be back with another founder for you tomorrow.